It is kind of remarkable as I write up a tweet right here, a post, still a guy who calls it Twitter, that you have people out there in the media who are still trying to tell you that the motives of the assassin of Charlie Kirk are elusive. To whom? That's the question. I'm Tony Katz. The show is Tony Katz today. I'm glad that you're here. This is just an aging room Maduro. Caught that thing right on sale right there. That's a box press Churchill. It's going to be a good day. I'm glad you guys are here. Be sure to tell your friends, and let's start the radio show, shall we?
Five days after Charlie Kirk's murder, the shooter's motive remains elusive. No writings left behind, vague secondhand testimony. That uncertainty and the risk of drawing sweeping conclusions suggests the murder may share similarities with recent violence not driven by an obvious political ideology.
That is CBS. I honestly, I should have warned you before I brought it to you. I really should have. Because that commentary is so absolutely immoral, if not insane, that for the rational person, for the decent person, how could you not scream out loud? We know that the assassin wrote, "Hey, fascist!" exclamation point, catch exclamation point on one of the bullets, on one of the casings. At that moment, we know the motive. At that moment, you know everything. When you heard that Charlie Kirk was assassinated, shot in the neck from 200 yards, you kind of could guess the motive. If you were anybody who was able to coalesce the vapors and figure out basic puzzles, you could understand the motive. Once you saw the casing with "Hey, fascist, catch," you knew the motive. Once you knew that the casings included commentaries of Bella Ciao, which is an anti-fascist Italian folk song, the people who actually lived through fascism with Benito Mussolini, you knew what it was. You knew that this was somebody who was inspired, ginned up by engaging the rhetoric of those who kept claiming that Trump is a fascist. And those people exist on the political left of the political spectrum of the United States of America. There is no debate, there is no doubt, and there is no reason for us to pretend otherwise. That's where this came from. And CBS wants you to believe that this shooter's just a mystery. As if the trans shooter in Minneapolis was a mystery. As if the trans shooter in Nashville, it's a mystery. Why did they do these things? As if this guy who murdered the United Healthcare CEO, it's a mystery. Why did he do these things? They wanted to charge him with terrorism. That charge was dropped today. And the fans of this killer cheered. Man, that was an ugly way to start a show. Tony Katz today. Guys, it's a pleasure to be with you. 833-GOT-TONY, 833-468-8669. Got an aging room Maduro in my hand right here. This is a Churchill 7x52 box press. I figure it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a good way to enjoy the day. They want to make the claim that they don't know. They want to make the claim that this is a mystery, but this isn't a mystery. And if you want just one more reason why you need to stop paying attention to the mainstream media, there you go. They make it easy. They make it easy to understand. First, we should be clear that there will be action in the courtroom today. That the murderer, the assassin, is to be federally charged. We know that this is coming. That is what is expected. The reports that the DOJ was seeking federal charges, undoubtedly true. We will see him in the courtroom later today. I think there's going to be a lot of procedural things that go on. We'll see what pleas are entered. We know that he is not cooperating with the authorities. We know that the romantic interest, I should say, who is trans, thinking that they are a girl when they are a boy, that person is working with the authorities. That person is being actively, well, it's not supportive. They're being helpful, I guess, is the word we can say, is the word we can use. So here's where we're at. Kash Patel was in front of a committee hearing today, and they were asking, were other people involved? Were there other people involved in this event, in this assassination? That was the conversation from Dan Bongino the other day. I believe I shared this with you, that the deputy director of the FBI stated that, yes, indeed, it is something that they are investigating. It is something that they're looking at. Were there other people? Now, there were messages that were put out there. There were messages that were put out that he was admitting to this, that he had, to an extent, bragged about this. But we don't yet have the totality of the story. We only have bits and pieces of the story. And as Bongino said, there were also some levels of warning signs.
And he was just intent, it appears, from the data we've accumulated and the channel and that note, which we have some evidence may have existed before based on the communications in that channel, that his target was obviously going to be Charlie and that people knew in advance. The question is, again, I just want to go back to what you had asked before. Did they know? Were they sure of this? Or did they hear this and just write it off? That's what we're going to have to find out.
That will be part of the investigation. And then, of course, in front of the hearing today, it was all a question of whether or not this was in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee, whether or not Kash Patel and the FBI has bungled any part of this. I would argue, as many have, this didn't seem to go smoothly in the first couple of days. I think that in the major press conference when they announced the arrest, it was so much Spencer Cox, the governor of Utah, and not Kash Patel, the FBI director. And to the extent that he spoke, he made it personal, and I don't think he looked his best at all. But the idea that they capture this guy in 33 hours. Well, his family turned him in. Okay. Take the win. I don't know what else I'm supposed to say there. Seems that going after Kash Patel is much more of a political conversation than it is a valuable conversation about whether or not he's got a skill set that works for being the director of the FBI. But put all that to the side for the moment. The motive remains elusive. I'm asking you right now, does the motive remain elusive, or are you being lied to? Does the motive in the assassination of Charlie Kirk seem elusive to you and to rational people, or does it seem like something the media will say so they could say, well, we can't say that it was the left screaming that Trump is a fascist for the past 10 years that ginned anybody up to this? Individual responsibility is real, and I believe in it. And this assassin, whose name I do not use, he is responsible. But are we going to pretend? Are we going to really say to ourselves in any kind of honest way that there hasn't been a concerted, proactive push to refer to Donald Trump, to refer to MAGA Republicans, to refer to you as a fascist, as anti-American, as somebody trying to destroy democracy? Are we really going to doubt this? Well, They might, we won't. I sure as hell won't. From this microphone, I have repeatedly stated that it is obvious to anybody listening that the left was trying every single day during the election to inspire a lone wolf. I said it, I meant it, and Butler, Pennsylvania sadly proved me accurate. How many more times you can tell the people that someone's a threat, someone's a danger to your sister, a danger to your mom, a danger to your life, a danger to your livelihood, a danger to America, a danger to the future. A danger. How many times did Joe Biden say those exact words, calling Donald Trump a threat, calling MAGA Republicans a threat, calling you a threat because you didn't agree with them? I think the people who were running the country instead of Joe Biden for those last couple of years, that cabal running the country and utilizing the auto pen to sign pardons, and I would argue legislation, far more of a threat than Donald Trump ever has been or ever could be. And you know me, guys, I don't agree with everything that President Trump does. Oh, we'll get into the Attorney General, Pam Bondi. If there was something that one could do to a pooch that is unkind, she did that thing to that pooch. Oh, that poor pooch. Nobody is questioning motive here. You only question motive and you only say things like this because what you are desperate to do is to change the conversation altogether. And this conversation should not be changed.
5 days after Charlie Kirk's murder, the shooter's motive remains elusive. No writings left behind, vague secondhand testimony. That uncertainty and the risk of drawing sweeping conclusions suggests the murder may share similarities with recent violence not driven by an obvious political ideology.
That's a lie. This is CBS. They have decided to never get it right. Deceptively edit Kamala Harris videos. Deceptively edit. Was it Kristi Noem the other day? Now this. You decide to suspend Tony Dokapol because he looks at Ta-Nehisi Coates and says, you don't even understand the basic concept of the issue between the Israelis and the so-called Palestinians. This is CBS. This is clearly what their newsroom is. Man, I really hope Barry Weiss is able to get in there because maybe we'll actually start getting news again. We do not have to question what the motive is. We know what it is. No writings left behind. They were shell casings. The writings were on the shell casing saying, hey, fascist, catch. We know what the motivation was. If the political left via the media was calling Trump a fascist 24/7, and here is a guy shooting at Charlie Kirk, a massive supporter of President Trump, calling him a fascist. Hey, fascist, catch. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not good enough for them to understand. This is why we need to say goodbye to them. They're unserious people. But if you were to walk into any neighborhood in America, I don't care if it's rich or poor, white, black, Asian, Hispanic, it doesn't matter, and lay out those facts, they would tell you, oh, I know what the motive was. We have courts to deal with the law, but the court of public opinion is clear. The media has no interest in engaging what is clear. They have only an interest in engaging a narrative. The left will not stop saying that Trump is a threat to democracy because they're still trying to gin up their desire. Not because I say so, but because the data shows it so. How many more ways do you need to see this? And it is imperative that we give them not only no quarter, we give them no audience. I share the things with you, and I went through this. Do I keep sharing this or do I just ignore this altogether? And the answer is, because if you share it, you're giving them notice and notoriety. And you notice I don't share the names of assassins or killers, which should not be done. I have decided that I will keep sharing because I understand that and I've learned this from you, that as I'm sharing these things here, that's the only time you hear it because you're not watching. You're not engaging with that content, and good. And more people should not. The only people engaging in that content are the people getting more and more and more and more radicalized. And we do need to expose it so less people watch it. So when we engage these clips, we can say, thank goodness our children and ourselves and the ones we love and our friends are not subjected to that. The media wants to claim they've got no role in this. The media is wrong. Wrong. They want to claim the motive is elusive. No, it's not. That's just a lie. That's not getting it wrong. That's proactively lying. We know what the motive was. We know what the purpose was. We know what the agenda was. The problem is I'm saying it like it's in the past because that part is wrong. We know what the motive is. We know what the agenda is for the progressives. They have made it clear. And instead of saying our side of the aisle has to stop this right now, they're saying we need to lower the temperature. Listen to their words as the days and weeks go on. They have no plans of lowering the temperature. But it seems very clear to me, and I'm willing to debate it anywhere, that not only do they have no plans of lowering the temperature, they don't plan on stopping. I said it before and I'll say it again. This is not going to end overnight. This violence, this rhetoric, this anger, the only way out is through. I am sorry to report that this is the way it is right now. And it's going to be a rough road ahead. Thank goodness we have each other. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. So I was just talking to producer Landon about how, I do live events here in Indianapolis. By the way, Tony Katz Today, my ashtray. This was the ashtray that sat on my parents' card table. They had a card table in the living room. Didn't really play cards. It was beautiful. And this was the ashtray, and it was like this bone look. And they didn't smoke, but it sat right in the middle, right there in the middle. There it was. And so now it's the ashtray I use. Little sharing. What do you want from me? I do live events, and we have hundreds of people that show up to the live events, and we've got a big one coming in January that I hope to lock down this week, and I'll tell you all about it. It's going to be amazing. You're going to have to look fancy for it. But that means I don't have an event. The last one I did was August. I don't have an event coming up till January. I want to do something. I'm seriously considering having a Christmas party. I think Tony Katz having a Christmas party might be the most beautiful thing out there. I'm talking about eggnog. I'm talking about trees. I'm talking about a latke station. What? I can't just serve ham. Some of my people might show up, and I got to be responsible. But yeah, I'm seriously considering having a Christmas party, like just an all-out Christmas party. Surreal. It'll be more than prom attire. It'll be much more than prom attire. You don't you worry. I'll show you. I'll tell you what you need. You trust me on this one, right there. By the way, John, so good to hear from you from back in the days in Florida. John knew me before I did any of this. John knew me when I first did this. Yeah, you talk about going after the people about the suggestions. And I'm not 100% sure how that works, but this is going to fall into the Pam Bondi conversation, and I'll give you my thoughts on that. Anyway, I appreciate you being here, John. Good work on the weight loss, too. Well played. Well played.
Well, I would say this right away. Stop sending Tren de Aragua into the United States. Stop sending drugs into the United States. We knocked off actually 3 boats, not 2, but you saw 2. And the problem is there are very few boats out in the water. There are not a lot of boats out in the water. I can't imagine why. Not even fishing boats. There's nobody. Nobody wants to go take a fish. So it's one of those things. But I would say to him very strongly, stop sending people from your prisons into our country.
That's President Trump talking about Nicolas Maduro, talking about Venezuela, talking about taking out another drug boat. Tony Katz today, good to be with you. And the argument from Senator Rand Paul about, are you sure? What about due process? These are not people in the United States. We do things based on intelligence assessments all the time. If you think that is wrong, you're entitled to that point of view. I just don't think that you have an argument legally. If these were American citizens, you'd have the argument legally. Barack Obama droning U.S. citizens, a far different conversation. But I'd tell Maduro not to do this. You've already labeled him a narco-terrorist, and you're looking to arrest him, and you put a multi-million-dollar bounty on his head. Don't do this. I don't think he's going to be listening, Mr. President. I don't think that's going to be the story. The president, by the way, on his way to London for a state visit with King Charles, where I hope the conversation comes up. Hey, King Charles, you might want to do something about the Islamists you've allowed to pour into your country, because you're going to lose the country. And you see your son over there? No, not Harry, because he's clearly the son of the bodyguard. I'm talking about William. He's going to be the last king of England. And little Georgie, where's little Georgie? Hey, Georgie, he's never going to be king. He's never going to sit on the throne. Prince William will be the last king because you are being overrun and you refuse to do anything about it when you know you must. So do something about it. I don't know if that conversation will come up or not. Much more to get to, including what Pam Bondi said. Keep it here. It's Tony Katz today. Oh, good Lord. So people would show up to a Christmas. What is with the little buggies in my studio? What is going on there? Did I leave a window open? It's like right there. It's like a little, that is annoying. I'm gonna, is it just me? Is it I'm just seeing things? You throw a Christmas party, I'd attend that over anything my workplace put together. All right, well, is that a dig on your workplace? I think I think we'd have a good party. I think we'd have a very, very good party. The only thing I don't think I could do is gifts for everybody. Yeah, you could do that, but what if someone doesn't bring something and you're talking about a party that would I have at least 200 people? Yeah, of course I'd have at least 200 people. Right? Party on the South Side. So I was not my problem. So this is about Indianapolis, guys, because that's where I live. I have not found a location on the South Side yet. I haven't. That works for our cost structure. If I can find the place on the South Side, I would totally do the place on the South Side. I have a Santa ready to go. I have got the food ready to go. But I don't think it would be White Elephant, and it would definitely not be BYOB. Maybe food for a food pantry, like everybody brings that, which would be a good idea. I wouldn't mind that in the slightest. Do some good, but no, not BYOB. I'll take care of bourbon and rum, maybe some tequila, and the nog. Some vino. So bring your own cigars. So it'll be winter. So it might not be a cigar event. Just talking about the place and the whole thing, it might not be a cigar event, more just a gathering. Do you have to bring your own brisket? Well, always. You're not like Rafi from the league. You're not showing up with a pocket dog. What even is wrong with you? Tony wants to know, would I have to sign a waiver? What kind of party would it be if you didn't sign a waiver? Producer Landon wants us to have a sledding competition. He wants us to have it near a hill. He's got dreams of his own. That's just not going to happen. Not at all. Yeah. So, all right. Let me get myself set up for what is next over here. And so, hold on a second. There's that. And there's this right here. And there's some more coming out from the hearing with Kash Patel about Epstein. I will bring you that as well. Hold on a second. There it is. There it is. Got it. Good. Excellent. Fine. And we've got this. All right. We're good to go. Well, Scott, if you make a mean brisket, you can bring brisket. I'm not going to tell you not to bring brisket. I'm just saying, yes, BYOB, bring your own brisket. Right. That is my version of it, Landon. That's correct.
You've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files?
In the case file.
Okay.
I'm to believe that all the files the FBI has, there's no information within them regarding sex trafficking to other individuals. Okay. Sure. Okay. If that's what you tell me, that's what you tell me. And I guess I'm going to believe that there's no information that the FBI has at all or in any way that shows how Jeffrey Epstein was trafficking young girls to other people. Sure. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Find everything at TonyKatz.com. Live streaming on YouTube. You can check it out for yourself. And I only hope that you will. Thank you for listening wherever it is you are listening. Pam Bondi is the Attorney General. And I was excited for Pam Bondi to be the AG. She had done the work in Florida. She knew how to run an organization like this. I thought it was a far better pick than Matt Gaetz every day of the week and twice on Sunday. And I have not been impressed. I don't think she's been impressive. And we talk about Epstein and this whole release of the Epstein files. And oh, look, we've got influencers at the White House. Influencers. And oh, look, they've all got binders. And what was inside the binders? Absolutely, positively nothing. Nothing was in the binders at all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A bag of weed, a bag of weed. No. The bag of weed was in the White House under Biden. These were the binders. Biden binders. The two different things. There was nothing in the binders. There was no new information in the binders. Nothing. And they wanted to tell us that this was all fresh information.
That's hot.
That was a hot take, but it wasn't true. Wasn't factual. There was nothing in there that we didn't already know. And yes, I believe the White House is absolutely, or the AG has absolutely bungled this part of it, failed on the part regarding Epstein, put Trump in the position where he took, I think, the wrong tact, and I think he knows it, but can't walk away from it. You have to release what you can, and you have to release it. If no one wants to hear anything else, just release the stuff. You have to release what you can. So do so. And it is Bondi who created the opportunity for the left to be able to go after President Trump on this subject. That was foolhardy. But on the Katie Miller podcast, saying this, well, this is ridiculous.
There's free speech and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie, in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything. And that's across the aisle.
Let's take a moment to take in the insanity of the statement. And there's been a correction. We'll get to that. Don't worry. There's free speech and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie in our society. First, there is no such thing as hate speech. It doesn't exist. It's not real. Allow us to break this down.
Now it's time for a breakdown. Breakdown. Go ahead, give it to me. Breakdown, honey, take me through the night. Breakdown.
We start with the basics. There's no such thing as hate speech. Hate speech is not real. There is speech that you hate. There's always speech that you hate. But there's no such thing as hate speech. There's no category for hate speech. It's like there's no such thing as a hate crime. I don't care that the FBI has statistics on it. It's meaningless. All crimes are hate crimes. There is no such thing as hate speech. It's not real. Someone says something bad about Jews or people who are black, Hispanic, Asian, doesn't matter. Does not matter. That is not hate speech. It's just speech you hate. There is a difference between that and saying we should go do harm to person X. There's a difference between those two things. But here, she is talking about hate speech. And she said to Katie Miller in this podcast, we will absolutely target you, go after you if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything. No, we won't. And I think Katie Miller should have pushed back here. I think she made a massive mistake. Katie Miller is the wife of Stephen Miller, right? The Trump disciple. I don't mean that in any types of negative way. He's been with Trump for forever. He does this massive job of delivering the message. He can deliver it with ferocity. And so now his wife's doing a podcast. And who do you get as your guests? People like the vice president, I think it was the vice president, and the attorney general. Some top flight guests for that starting podcast. She's just wrong here. She's not just wrong, she's as wrong can be. This then led to a conversation on Fox News. This is the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, in her own words.
That's horrific. It's free speech, but you shouldn't be employed anywhere if you're going to say that. And employers, you have an obligation to get rid of people. You need to look at people who are saying horrible things, and they shouldn't be working with you. Businesses cannot discriminate. If you want to go in and print posters with Charlie's pictures on them for a vigil, you have to let them do that. We can prosecute you for that. I have Harmeet Dillon right now in our civil rights unit looking at that immediately, that Office Depot had done that. We're looking at that.
For years, we've been talking about the case of Masterpiece Cake Shop. This Colorado bakery that didn't want to decorate a cake for a same-sex marriage. They would bake the cake. They'd say, here, buy one of our cakes. Use it for whatever you like. But our religious beliefs preclude us from decorating a cake for a same-sex marriage. And they got sued, and they got vilified, and they won in the Supreme Court on very narrow grounds, and then they got sued again, and the state of Colorado went after them. Because these absolute animalistic progressives who can't believe in live and let live, they want fealty. You must obey. You must celebrate the thing that you disagree with, and if you don't, they will come at you with lawfare, or now worse, said you will suffer by our hand. And gay couples went back to the cake shop knowing what they would do so they could say, oh my gosh, I'm so insulted. How dare you? You've triggered me. This is a violation of my rights. Ain't nobody violating your rights. You really want the people that don't like you making your cake? You've never seen Fight Club? That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it pays off. They did this. They vilified. They did this to, was it a florist in Oregon, or were they in California? They do this all the time. And we said it was wrong. Now here comes the Attorney General to say, you can't say no. I thought the whole point was you can say no. I thought that was the argument that the political right was having for years. Now all of a sudden it's not. Well, if you want to argue turnabout is fair play, okay. But no one has to print a flyer. Now, let me take it a step further. I don't believe in the public accommodation. Nope. You don't want to serve me because I'm Jewish. You don't have to serve me. You don't want to serve me because I'm a man. You don't have to serve me. You don't want to serve me because I'm white. You don't have to serve me. Now, if you serve me, you can't spit in my food. But you as a business owner should be able to be as much of a bigoted, low-life, no-good son of a you-know-what as you choose to be. I should have absolutely no say in that. It's like smoking sections. Who the bloody heck is the state or any other law to tell you you can't have a smoking section and engage the marketing of your business as you see fit? To hell with the state. You have a smoking section. Well, it's not fair to the employees. Tell them to get another job. I have a smoking section. Some people like smoking, and I'll hire people who have no problem with smoking. I believe in the actual liberty conversation where people get to decide exactly what kind of person they are, whether they are inclusive or not in their private business. And then that's that. Now, when it comes to the government, you do everything. You do what you're told. You're government. It's a big difference. You want to go after those people? Now, I think the AG telling people not to hire certain people, fire certain people, that's not the everyday, but okay. But you want to now tell people they have to print the poster? No, they don't. And that's strike two for Pam Bondi, who then put out this quasi-apology where she says hate speech that crosses the line into threats of violence is not protected by the First Amendment. Agreed. But that isn't what you said. This is cover for a very poorly worded statement that you might actually believe. Pam Bondi is screwing up left and right. And I got to assume that the president is noticing. This is Tony Katz today. Mike Braun, increasingly likely we'll have redrawn maps. The governor of Indiana now saying that. I interviewed him this morning. It's the one subject that did not come up because I was doing some very, very local things. But now saying it's increasingly likely. Okay. Good. Good. All right. Sorry. So what else do we got? What else is happening? What else is going on? What's everybody doing? Check the comments right here. Yeah, you find me a place on the south side for a Christmas party. We can look at it. I'm happy to look at it, but I'm thinking a Christmas party is very, very, very necessary. Let's see. Let's see if we can find a date. What works for everybody? We're talking about December. Do we want to do December 6th? Well, it's the day before Pearl Harbor. December 6th or December 13th? Like a Saturday night? Yeah, but Thursday night would be easier. But yeah, because people have like actual things going on weekends. I'm telling you. And Cory Booker decided to go full Spartacus on Kash Patel. Oh, don't worry, I got it. I got it. And then Mazie Hirono proving that men are not women and women are not men. And oh, is she going to get yelled at for this? Oh. Hold on a second. Yeah. Cory Booker, the senator from New Jersey, going full Spartacus on Kash Patel, a finger on the dump button just in case.
That rant of false information does not bring this country together. If you want to work on bringing this country, it's my time, not yours.
My God.
If you want to talk about
dividing this country,
it is
I
my
follow
time.
you on your social media posts that
It is
tear
my
this country
time
apart.
to address
There
your
should be a unifying-
falsehoods.
Oh,
You are an
you can
embarrassment
try all
to the
you
division
want
in this country.
to not take
It is my
responsibility
time.
for what
You
you
had
have
your
said.
time.
Sir, you're
Your
making
time
a
is
mockery of this
over.
committee. Sir, you don't tell me my time is over.
You
The
know how
people
far
of New
we've
Jersey
come
tell me
since
what
you
my
tell-
time is. You can't lecture me.
You can tell me
Sir,
my time's over?
You may be the charge of the
I'm not
FBI,
going anywhere.
but I am not afraid of you, sir.
Chairman.
Not afraid of you.
Who asked you to be afraid of anybody? By the way, everything's going great, isn't it? I don't know about you. I don't know about you, but I think everything's going just peachy. No, everyone's getting along. They're doing a great job of bringing down the temperature. But I think it's interesting. In addition to this, Mazie Hirono, the senator from Hawaii, do not let your kids date a woman like Mazie Hirono. Do not marry a woman like Mazie Hirono. And don't let your kids grow up to actually act like or think like Mazie Hirono. That is a public service announcement from me to you because I want you to know how much I care. And believe me, I think this matters more than anything. Do not allow your children to grow up to be like Mazie Hirono. Thank you. Thank you. I was looking for the more you know theme. I didn't have that. I was looking for it. It'll show up later. I'm sure it will. I'm sure. All I had was this.
I hate Illinois Nazis.
And that was not appropriate for the moment. Mazie Hirono thinks that a pull-up test for the FBI, for FBI agents, pull-ups, is harsh because there are women with physiological differences who can't do them. And Hirono asked, are you requiring these kinds of pull-ups? And Kash Patel said, if you want to chase down a bad guy and put him in handcuffs, you better be able to do a pull-up. And she said, the reason I ask is that there are concerns about whether or not being able to do these kinds of harsh pull-ups is really required of FBI agents, to which Patel said, doing one pull-up is not harsh. I think that this is Mazie Hirono admitting that there's a difference between men and women are not men, and women are not as strong as men, because there are actual physiological differences between men and women. And I can't believe she said something so anti-trans. I, for one, am shocked. Hold on, wait. No, I'm not shocked. She's actually correct that there are physical differences between men and women on average are not as strong as men. Oh gosh. All right, so she's actually right. Well, the trans community is still going to be infuriated with these facts that this progressive has now put forth. I guess she's now a TERF, just like J.K. Rowling. Huh, who knew? I'm Tony Katz. Oh, good Lord. Good Lord. Guys, I'm glad that you're here. Where was it? I have that sound effect. I just could not find it. Let me see. Hold on. Now I'm going to find it. I know it's here. Wait, did it move over here? No. No, it did not. No, it did not. I know I have it. I know. There's no way I don't have it. I don't have it. That's crazy. I'm gonna have to fix that. I'm gonna have to fix that. I have it somewhere else. I just thought I had it in here. All right, here's what's going on. We are gonna take the break, right? The radio show is in break. We will take the break. So hang loose. And also a good time to check out defiancebeef.com. Get your cow quarter, half full. You want a freezer full of the finest beef you are ever going to have. You want to go to defiancebeef.com and you want to use promo code Eat Drink Smoke. That's my cigar and bourbon show. And you will get $150 off your entire order. Defiancebeef.com and use a promo code Eat Drink Smoke and get $150 off your order. Age 21 days. So tender, so flavorful. You decide how it's cut. Strips, ribeyes, the thickness, the amount of ground beef, tenderloins, brisket, everything. Everything. Talk to defiancebeef.com. Place your order today. Get your freezers full. And then don't worry about spending prices at the store because those prices are nuts. Defiancebeef.com. Be sure to check it out. Guys, hang loose. We'll be back in a moment. Keep it right here. Good thing to do. Welcome back, Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. There was a stretch. There was a snack. Here I am. Here I am for hour two. It was a story. I mean, not everything is ripped from the headlines. There's nothing else right now to say about what's going on. Still that little flying gnat. I thought I got him. With the Charlie Kirk case, that suspect will be in front of a courtroom today. So we will have that, really the information on that tomorrow. But there was a story, and I'm moving everything over there at TonyKatz.com, moving it to Substack. And the reason is that it's just a much easier platform to work, to navigate, to utilize. People are more used to it. They better understand it. Just a lot of more options and robustness than what locals had. And, it's one of the sad things is that Rumble did not deliver, at least for me. And I know for other creators. If you're one of like 3 or 4 guys, oh yeah. Everybody else, no. And it just didn't work. So you got to go with what works and where the opportunities are. And that has been X, and that has been YouTube. And to have a place to put everything together, that is Substack. So that's where we're 10,000% going with everything. So that is happening. So you'll be able to get everything over there, and I hope that you will. And I appreciate you guys being part of the live stream. You guys know there's a radio show that's going on, of course, heard in places around the country that we're trying to grow. So we do this in tandem with the radio show. The radio show is coming back in right now. So let's begin. Well, we really won't have news regarding anything more about the Charlie Kirk assassination until we see the defendant in the courtroom, which is supposed to happen today. Did you know that 2 people were arrested for trying to blow up a Fox News van? Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Live streaming as we are. Over there at YouTube and Twitter X. So youtube.com/Tony Katz, Twitter X, Tony Katz, Facebook, Tony Katz today. Head on over and be a part of everything we're doing in all those places. But this story did not get much play. It was a pair, 2 people arrested for trying to blow up a local Fox News van. Clearly, what they saw was the local Salt Lake City affiliate for Fox, which is not, the same thing as Fox News. And they said, oh, there's Fox. Let's go get him. This was Salt Lake City. So first of all, Utah, where Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Adib Nasir, 58, and Adil Justice Ahmed Nasir, 31, were taken into custody. Bomb squads with the Salt Lake City Police Department and other officials responded to reports of suspicious activities. So this was last week. They then discovered an incendiary device placed under a vehicle near an occupied building. The device was lit, but it failed to function. That's the actual quote. I'd like to know everything about these 2. I'd like to know their history. I'd like to know where they hail from, where in the United States or not in the United States. I would like to know political affiliations. I would like to know religious affiliations. I would like to know if they were on a watch list of any kind. I have questions. I would like to know more about them. The FBI secured a warrant for the home. Both men lived at the address, and footage of the property, according to the Daily Mail, showed 2 anti-Trump flags on the lawn. Let's go taco, meaning Trump always chickens out, which the bombing raid on Iranian nuclear facilities ends that conversation real quick. And the other flag, is he dead yet? We said it before and we'll say it again. The left has been desperate to do harm to President Trump. They joke about it like Kathy Griffin did with that photo all those years ago. Remember when that was horrible, showing the severed head of Donald Trump? Now that's on people's Christmas cards. When you had Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, the absolutely horrific Tim Walz, joking about Donald Trump dying.
You get up in the morning and you doom scroll through things, and although I will say this, the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. There will be news sometime, just so you know, there will be news.
This was around the time when people were like, hey, we haven't seen Trump for 2 days. He must be dead. There was a whole internet rumor nonsense thing going on about that. And there is Tim Walz cheering that. It's who they are. It's what they do. It is down to their bones. There is a difference. And the left has to come clean about this, and the left has to clean up its own act. Without question. And yet we get admission. This is Representative Pocan from Wisconsin, who is a progressive on C-SPAN.
Do you think we throw around Nazi too often?
Probably, but also I think it's really important people know their history, because if you know the history of what happened, you'll know there were certain events that sparked overreactions. And what we don't want to happen is that ever to happen again. And right now, you could see an overreaction to an incident like this that could not be good for the country.
So the problem is not Charlie Kirk being assassinated. The problem is a response that hasn't come. Charlie Kirk was assassinated and not a single building was burned to the ground. And here you are, Representative Pocan, on television, to the extent anybody's watching C-SPAN, although some do, saying, oh, be careful, they might react. Can you believe that they saw somebody be assassinated who they might like and respect, and they have the audacity to react? Shocking. If you ever wondered how much these people hate you, well, now you know. Maybe we call them Nazis too much, but you know, they look like Nazis, they sound like Nazis, they quack like Nazis, so I'm going to keep calling them Nazis. But yeah, it might be a little bit too much, but you know, they're Nazis. This is their so-called cogent argument. This is more just proof of the people being ginned up, it continuing to happen. They believe this is a rational argument. They actually think that they're intellectuals. They don't care that they denigrate the Holocaust. They don't care that they abuse titles and history, etc. It means nothing to them. If they believe it will help them gain power, they are in favor of it. There was this guy, he's a gamer. I don't know anything about the dude. I had never heard the name until yesterday. Producer Landon, you ever hear of somebody, a gamer named Destiny? Okay. Yeah, me either. But this, I believe it's edited clean, but finger on the dump button just in case, Producer Landon. This was on Piers Morgan's show.
I think that the only way this country moves forward into a better world is when conservatives can finally realize that they need to turn the temperature down on their side. We are 10 years into whatever this Trump madness is, and there is not a single mainstream conservative that will call for a lowering of the temperature on their side. I think that liberals need to wake up and finally realize that if they're not willing to do it, it will never come down. If you wanted Charlie Kirk to be alive, Donald Trump shouldn't have been president for the second term.
The political right needs to tone down its rhetoric. If you wanted Charlie Kirk alive, Donald Trump should not have been elected. I mean, you didn't miss that, did you? You heard it like I did, right?
Finally realize that if they're not willing to do it, it will never come down. If you wanted Charlie Kirk to be alive, Donald Trump shouldn't have been president for the second term.
It's your fault for electing him. It's not their fault for screaming fascist. It's not their fault for pushing for a lone wolf. No, it's your fault. If you want the rhetoric toned down, my gosh, tone it down. Go ahead. It's fine by me. The less of the madness, the better. But I will go the other way with this, except I don't think anybody should be killed. So when we see this, when we hear this from all these places, does it sound like they're interested in toning down anything? No. The answer is it's always the other guy. They killed him. Now, some people on the left take a real objection to the concept of they. What do you mean they? The exact rhetoric of fascist was utilized by the assassin. The exact rhetoric. How do you think this went down? You think the guy who tried to kill Donald Trump was what? Well, we know that the guy who killed the lawmaker, the woman in Minneapolis, was a Trump supporter. What we know was he was appointed to two different boards, or the same board twice, by Tim Walz. And we know that incident, which is disgusting, by the way, which we should be talking about seriously, was a far cry and a far different thing than what happened with Charlie Kirk. This was it? I mean, we still haven't heard enough about this case. Was it vendetta? Was it personal? Was there some other connection going on here? Remember the guy who impersonated a cop? It's like, what is happening? And we all said, what in the world is happening? Trump supporter? No. An outright progressive? I haven't seen proof of that either. I'd like more information, please. I don't know why it's not out there. Charlie Kirk's assassin, we know the story. And the left's answer is, well, you see what the right does. And then they keep pushing the same. You voted for Trump, and that's why Charlie Kirk is dead. Well, that's a heck of a statement. And of course, all these things are meant for you to stop talking, meant for you to stop doing what they don't want done, meant for you to be the kind of Republican they accept, which is at this point what the political left is saying: pay the jizya and we won't kill you. The jizya is a tax. You'd have to understand Sharia law maybe to understand that reference. That's what non-Muslims pay in Muslim lands engaging any level of Sharia. You pay the tax to not be killed, non-believer. That's where we're at. We're at the conversation of non-believers. Truly horrific. But we don't know anything more about Kirk's assassin. The court hearing today will give us much more information for tomorrow. In the meantime, a weird conversation about the war between Russia and Ukraine, and a story that I have up on TonyKatz.com about men in college, which is really a story about feminists. That is coming up. It's important, worthy of your time, I promise. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. I just saw, I had an email from Stream Deck about how Elgato and how they have a sale on something. I have never figured out how to make Stream Deck work. I mean, I just do the single camera thing here, but as a switcher, I never figured it out. I mean, I don't think I would do a multi-camera shoot here, but for other things I do. I would like it. And doing it web-based doesn't work. And I have a what's called a YOLO Live, which is very, very cool, but that's digital. You got to press the screen. I'd rather have the buttons. And some people use the foot system. There's like foot pedals. If anybody knows which one's really good, I would try that for sure, because that makes life easy when you're doing it solo. Absolutely. Anyway, that's a little bit of technical. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Let's see what else is going on. Let's see what breaking news is taking place. We know about the Kash Patel. Do you want more of the Kash Patel hearing? I can do it. I am not shy. Let's see what we can get going on here. Come on, let the ad play. There it is.
That Ghislaine Maxwell was referring to that that were part of this
Adam
cast of
Schiff.
Characters associated with Mr.
He's an
Epstein.
odd-looking head.
The Deputy Attorney General took the aggressive step that no one else did and interviewed Miss Maxwell for
I'm asking
2
you,
days, and we released
who are
the
the cabinet
entirety
members?
of that
Who are the cabinet
transcript.
members?
I do not have that transcript in front of me. You're picking it piecemeal. The American
And-
public can
and
read the entirety
Let me ask you
of that.
one last question, because you clearly won't tell us the cabinet members associated with Mr. Epstein. Let me ask you one last question. And that is, right after she gives this testimony in front of an FBI agent, among others, she's transferred to a minimum security prison not suitable for a sex offender like herself. Who made that decision and why?
The Bureau of Prisons.
The Bureau of Decisions made it in
prisons.
The Bureau of Prisons decided on their own, without any consultation with Blanche or anyone else, that they were going to suddenly, after this interview, completely unrelated to this interview, completely unrelated to anything she said, move her to a prison not suitable for a sex offender. You want the American people to believe that? Do you think they're stupid?
No. I think the American people believe the truth, that I'm not in the weeds on the everyday movements of
you're not in
inmates.
the weeds?
What I am doing is protecting this country, providing historic reform, and combating the weaponization of intelligence by the likes of you. And we have countlessly proven you to be a liar in Russiagate, in January 6th. You are the biggest fraud to ever sit in the United States Senate. You are a disgrace to this institution and an utter coward.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised that you continue to lie from your perch and put on a show so you can go raise money for your charade. You are a political buffoon at best.
Well, you can.
That seemed to go well. Oh, they're still going. They're still going. I'm
Like California, we are bringing historic reform.
Point of order.
But all you care about is a child sex predator that was prosecuted by a prior administration, and the Obama Justice Department and the Biden Justice Department did squat. And what did President Trump do? Bring new charges courageously. And what have we done?
Chairman,
you said I'm the most transparent FBI director in history. 33,000 pages of information to you. I challenge you to say anything credibly to the truth. Go ahead and run to the cameras where you want to go now.
Both of you be quiet before I go to Senator.
This is actually happening. Senate Judiciary hearing, oversight hearing, Kash Patel, the FBI director. That was Adam Schiff asking the questions. Now, everybody, I think, understands regarding Epstein that the only reason Democrats care about any of this is that they think it can hurt Donald Trump. It's the only reason. We all know that. Those of us who have been on this story, we want the answers to the questions. who was associated with Epstein and engaged in abusing children, and we want those people in jail. End of list. Tony Katz. Did I say hello, Tony Katz, today? That was nutty. But Schiff is not interested in data. Schiff is interested only in whatever kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Soundbite that can get him some fundraising. And to that point, Kash Patel is right. To the point of Ghislaine Maxwell got moved to a different prison after an interview. It all looks suspicious. So does not releasing any information. So I don't mind Adam Schiff taking his lumps, because Adam Schiff is terrible. Adam Schiff is a liar. Adam Schiff is a fraud. Lied about Russia. Don't ever forget that. He lied through his teeth. Oh, I have information. You don't have information. You don't have anything. You never had anything. You know it, and I know it. You never had anything. He lied. And for that, he should have to deal with the consequences. It wasn't the story I was going to get to. It's just I looked over and they were yelling at each other. And I said, that, kids, is great radio. Because when on radio do you hear two people just screaming at each other? It's like never, right? That's what I thought. That's one of the newer sound effects that I have. I also have a gong, and whatever the heck this is. Is that a boing? All right. Thank you, producer Landon. Finally, you earn your keep. In a very odd story in the New York Post, Keith Kellogg, the general, the special presidential envoy, said that he and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs advised President Trump that Russia is losing its war on Ukraine. I am very bothered by that statement. They're at the Yalta European Security Conference in Kyiv. So you've got Kellogg, you've got the chairman, General Dan Raisin Kane, reassuring the president of Moscow's wilting position roughly 6 weeks ago. That was before Trump met with Vladimir Putin, which could have given more impetus to the idea of the meeting that, hey, he's weakened. This is a great time to get a deal done. I don't see anything that shows me he's weakened. If you argue he has lost more people than he is willing to admit, that's true. If you want to argue that that's cost him more money than he's willing to admit or ever thought, that is true. If you want to talk about Ukraine having some incredible drone strikes and subversive types of methodologies and successes, absolutely true. Going after now oil fields and refineries and pipelines and energy movements, all true. And Ukraine will lose this war without the United States providing hardware or NATO providing hardware. They are going to lose. They don't have the bodies. They just don't have it. So if you want to argue that Russia is in fact losing this war, you can do such a thing, except it doesn't actually connect to the reality on the ground. And you're going to say to me, Tony, it's General Kellogg and it's the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. You don't know more than they do. I agree. But no part of the data backs up that analysis. I'll get Major Mike Lyons, a military analyst, on here tomorrow to further break it down. I want it to be the case. I want Russia to lose and lose huge and Putin to be thrown out and enjoy some time in a gulag. I want what I want. But nothing says that's what we're going to get. This is Tony Katz today. Oh man, they were screaming. They were screaming. But Adam Schiff is a chump. He's a chump. He deserves everything on this that happens to him. everything. He's an absolutely terrible guy. And every time he gets knocked over the head, I think that's good. An angel gets its wings. All right. So that's going on. That's going on. What do you guys got? Let me go to your comments. Is Venezuela burning yet or Poland? The answer is none yet. None yet. No one's burning yet, but we'll see. And then, there was a troll in here talking about Charlie Kirk. That's great. That's very brave of you. Very brave of you to troll Charlie Kirk. My gosh, it's just, you're so strong. You're so strong and just altogether manly. People, let me get this story about men in college. It's a very interesting story, and it has a lot of connectivity. Did I share the Nancy Mace stuff earlier? Yeah, I will do that. I will share the Nancy Mace stuff. And then I'll see what else is going on. It's right around this time in the show that I always like to check what's going on in breaking news. What if there's anything, happening on the quick, and make sure I share it properly every chance I get. Yeah, there's more talk about the TikTok deal, but we don't know what the deal is yet, so there's nothing really to comment about. There's nothing to comment about at all there. Am I leaving YouTube or just Rumble? I'm leaving Rumble. I guess the channel's going to stay, but I just don't do the work there anymore because the work is not being seen. The growth here is happening. Now, don't get me wrong. It's happening slowly. I have always had much more analog success than I've ever had digital success. It's very, I don't understand it. Like numbers wise, rating wise, and the stations that I'm on, things are really good. And I'm super appreciative. For whatever reason, I guess I'm just not wild and crazy enough for digital. I don't know. I don't know what it is. See what happens when you're normal? But we're starting to see results here. And I like that tremendously. So between X and YouTube, good. That's why we're moving everything else to Substack as the daily blog and everything else and special content and subscriber content and all those kinds of things. Just to make it all easier. And these are places that are more ubiquitous, that people are used to, that they're already going to, and they've now created the places for the easier way to share financial opportunities, all sorts of things. So that's that. So that's why it's here. So we won't get into the TikTok story. I'll get into this story about college. Oh, and I'll share this Nancy Mace audio with you. I haven't shared it yet. I'll share this Nancy Mace audio with you because it's about Ilhan Omar. It is. I'm surprised that she hasn't been called on to be censured. I'll share it with you coming up.
Here I am standing outside of the anti-American Ilhan Omar's office. Tomorrow we will file a privileged motion to censure her and to strip her of her committee assignments.
That is Representative Nancy Mace making a video outside of Ilhan Omar's office. You can see the nameplate in the background saying that there is legislation or a motion that will go through to remove Ilhan Omar from all her committee assignments. Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. What is going on, everybody? Find everything over at TonyKatz.com. Why?
She is inciting violence against conservatives in the wake of Charlie Kirk's political assassination. She is dehumanizing conservatives all across the country, calling Charlie Kirk a terrorist. We have been villainized and dehumanized far too long. The Democrats set the standard for stripping people of their committee assignments. I'm not going to be silent on this because enough is enough. I'm tired of your performative BS that is putting lives in danger. You can take your Sharia-loving, anti-American self back to Somalia.
Oh, damn. You can, wait, hold on. What was that exactly right there?
In danger. You can take your Sharia-loving, anti-American self back to Somalia. Here I am standing outside of...
Hey, well, let's see how that goes. I'm no fan of Ilhan Omar. I think Ilhan Omar is absolutely horrific. She's a bigot. There's a, in statements she has made previously, is one of saying that Somalia comes first. So there's a real conversation here about, well, why she gets elected in the first place. But this is a problem for Minneapolis, which is worthy of addressing. I bring to you a different story. A story about what's happening to our kids, young men and women. It was a story with the headline, "Gender Gap Grows Amid College Ranks as Fewer Boys Choose Higher Education." And I start with that the headline is wrong about fewer boys choosing higher education. I put forth to you that boys are pushed away from higher education. We're talking about the universities, which might explain why you see so many young Karens out there. These women are easier to radicalize, and with less guys in the school, there's nobody to date. 72,419 more girls than boys. We're talking about just, for example, in the state of Indiana, went on to higher education. But I am here to tell you that this is taking place in a lot of places. This has been brought up to me by people who deal in academia. Women have attended college in greater numbers than men for decades, but the trend has heightened in recent years nationwide. Why is that? Why is it that it's trending down? Well, first, why is it that more women go to college than men? Men do get into other things like trades that don't require college, and therefore it doesn't have that necessity. Right? That happens to be true. There are differences between men and women. But the reason that you see less boys going to college, less young men going to college, is that college hates them. This is a conversation about feminism and feminizing. If you tell boys, and then as they become young men, that masculinity is toxic masculinity, that men are rapists and sexist, that anything you do can be perceived as wrong and your entire life can be over. I only have to go back as far, maybe the first example, the easiest example to which everything else flows from is the Duke lacrosse team. I was just starting my radio career, questioning whether or not I could do this. And I was trying out some stuff for a couple weeks on a super tiny station that then came back into my life as I really started the career, and talking about this story. You lied about being attacked by members of the Duke lacrosse team. Like Tawana Brawley lied about being attacked and sexually abused by a cop. You have been telling men that they are the problem for years. Why would they go to a place where they're really unable to defend their reputation, that any allegation can destroy them, and where the schools have shown they want to engage the allegation against you. They are geared up for the moment. Then you look into the recognition that the university set has no interest in men. Well, men of color, sure, but less. They have no interest in trying to attract men. They don't engage outreach for men. That is not even how they categorize anything. Here's how many women we have at the university. Here's how many Hispanics. Here's how many Asians. Here's how many gay. Here's how many trans. Here's how many this. Here's how many that. Men, it's not even a statistic that matters. They don't care. They prefer not having the men on campus. Now, they may have never written down a policy that said that. But if you take a look at every one of their actions, that's exactly what they've done. That the campuses themselves have been purposefully excluding men, have been doing so for years. It is the unwritten rule. It is the wink and the nod. But really, it never even got discussed like that. It was simply discussed, well, we have to increase our enrollment of women. We have to increase our enrollment of gay students, and of black students, of Asian students, of Hispanic students. Men never came into the picture. Because men, toxic masculinity, who needs that? If women ran the world, there would be no wars. Is that right? Now, ladies, just for the sake of clarity, because we're all friends here, we all know that that's crap, right? We all saw Mean Girls. If women ran the world, there'd be no wars. Do you know how embarrassing that is? I have seen what a Karen does when you don't give her a baseball at the baseball game. I could scroll through right now and show you all the Facebook feeds of Karens who have lost their mind, these self-entitled fools. Could you imagine if they had access to a nuclear code? So let's not go through the silliness of some idea that if women ruled the world, there would be no wars. That's just silly. That's almost as silly as, this gender studies degree is really going to help you get far. And take a look at the degrees themselves. If we talk about why you don't bring men into the schools, you're not graduating people with things that matter. You're not. Gender studies, it's a non-degree. There is no value to the gender studies degree. Well, sure, if you're in the HR department, hold on a second, is that my phone ringing from HR? If you're in the HR department, well, then gender studies is extremely important. In the real world, it means nothing except, hey, how can I waste my parents' money? So you don't offer anything of value. You hate the men who are applying to the school. You don't put them in any category that you're proactively trying to address. Why? Of course they're not coming. Of course they're not coming. This is a huge issue. Now you say to me, Tony, you don't need college anyway. Ho, ho, ho. Meet me. My name is Tony Katz, and let me tell you, I have been discussing this for a great number of years. I had long said there's no value in a college education. The cost versus the results, absolutely not. The truth is, there are some people who I can totally see going to college. There are some people who absolutely do not need college. And one of the worst things we ever did was push forth this idea that in order to be a fully formed human, You need a college degree. The hell you do. And guys like Mike Rowe have done the work here, the real work here, in sharing that none of that is true, that the trades do matter. My father, rest his soul, when I was thinking about things to do, was like, you know, you should be a plumber because you can't, you know what, on the internet. This was, I forget how many years ago this was. You can't, how would I say this on the internet? Right? It doesn't matter how many computer jobs are out there. Some things still matter. So guys like Mike Rowe have done incredible work. But if we want to discuss why these universities don't have men joining, being a part of it, it's because these universities, for 2 decades or more, they hate men. They've hated men. They've been very clear about it. And not one of them has said mea culpa. Not a single one. Wait, hold on. I shouldn't say that. Maybe there have been and I haven't heard about it. But there's been no very loud talk from them that, yeah, we excluded men because we hate men and maybe we shouldn't hate men so much, which would actually be a step in the right direction. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Welcome back, everybody. Tony Katz Today. I was asking producer Landon how we're doing, and he said, man, this whole show sucks. I just thought that was rude as can be. No one's coming after you. I do know that. Right? How dare you think yourself so important that someone come after you? They're after all of us. We know it. We're all fully aware. Well, I see the question there in the chat room about dancing, and I'm not answering that question. I'm going through some just taking a look at some latest news stuff, making sure I'm bringing you all that I can. Good day, everybody. I'm liking it. Oh, there it is. Thank you. No, that's not it. There we are. All right. It's so great. I'm not afraid of you. Cory Booker screaming at Kash Patel. It's just so silly. Just so silly. So what else, kids? What else do we know? Wrapping up hour 2 right here in a few. Make sure you have subscribed. No, yeah, this. Hello. Excuse me, microphone. That is the new chronograph from Von Reist. Now, this is a quartz. So this is not the automatic chronograph. This is the quartz, which means wholly affordable right here. They did such a good job with this right here. With the look on this, the color scheme, the bronze here with the leather strap. So good. Everything is racing inspired. Really bravissimo. Truly, I picked this up. I actually won a live auction and picked up because I'm like, I don't have enough of them. And here's what you do. You go to Von Reist, Rieste, assembled right here in Indiana, designed right here in Indiana. Two brothers, great company. I'm their brand ambassador and thrilled to do it. And you want to go to Von Reist, use promo code CATS to get your discount and have a watch that's actually going to last. And look, spectacular. Incredible. They've got classic designs. They've got the more stylish designs, but not designer. It's gonna actually hold up. Check it out. Go to vonreist.com, use promo code CATS, and get your discount. So the same style of crackdown in D.C., they're now bringing to Memphis. Everybody's going to be walking 10 feet off a Beale. Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. The task force to take on crime has been established. Trump has vowed to fix the city, and they seem to have shelved the plan in Chicago due to opposition from local and state officials. Well, they should be saying that every day. Chicago doesn't want our help, so Chicago doesn't get our help. Sorry, people of Chicago. I hope you survive long enough to the election and vote these people out. I mean, no guarantees. I wanted to help, but it seems that Illinois would rather you lived in fear and died. That is absolutely the way, if I was President Trump, I would describe it. But Memphis has a Republican governor in Bill Lee. But Memphis has a Democratic mayor named Paul Young who has voiced opposition to the plan, saying that crime is falling without federal intervention. There is nobody at all who thinks Memphis is a safe place. No one. There's no one who also thinks Chicago is a safe place. Why not take the help? If you are Paul Young, the Democrat mayor, you don't say, hey, we don't need you, it's falling already. What if you can make it fall faster? What if instead of Memphis resources, meaning dollars, you could use federal resources and say, we're going to utilize this, this, and this. No, Mr. President, we don't want that over there. Just these things. See, a little bit of pushback. And then, yeah, let's drop this down another 82%. Sounds great. Let's go. It's a shame we had to wait for President Trump and the mayor and the governor wasn't here to help us. But we've been working to fix this city, and let's go get some more help. I am not going to play politics with the lives of the people of Memphis. I'm going to do everything I said I was going to do to make sure they've got a great quality of life, and the criminals are going to have to go somewhere else because you're not welcome here. Don't you guarantee yourself re-election? Or are we saying that for the progressive, better to live with crime than to get help from Trump? Better to live with people getting killed than to get help from Trump, because it might help him. And that matters more. Political victory matters more than safe society. I don't know how that isn't what they're saying. Me, if I'm a mayor, I'm like, oh, and I have a problem, like over here, right here, 2 guys over there, 2 guys over there. Let's get a couple people over there. Let's clean this up. This is Tony Katz today. But hey, that's just me. What are you going to do? Guys, I appreciate you being here. The show continues, the live stream. You can pick up at WIBC.com. You should check that out right there. Go to WIBC.com and listen to the show. I appreciate you quite a bit for being here. We're here every Monday through Friday, starting at noon. And if that changes, I'll let you know. Oh, I'm a guy with a plan. I am. I appreciate it, guys. I'll catch you tomorrow, everyone. Take care.